Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and thanks for stopping by. Our dedicated team will guide you through with the latest updates and theories at Starbase, Texas. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon for future streams.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff.
Hello, everybody. My name is Zack. Welcome to another Starbase Weekly live stream. Happy to be here with y'all this week. Got some. It's been an interesting week with some crazy developments as of last night. So, tons of stuff to talk about today. On top of all of the usual updates of everything that's been going on over the past few weeks. If you guys haven't noticed, we did not have a show over the last week. I think it was. Was it 2 weeks ago or 3? It feels like 3 at this point. But yeah, the weather has not been cooperating. I think if you guys have been following the program for a long time, you'll be familiar with what I call SN11 season, which is, basically the season. Usually it was all of March in the past, where all of March was really rainy and foggy, and it would end on March 31st, and it kind of seems like that season shifted by a full month. So we did have not very many opportunities to actually get up there and fly over the past few weeks, but this time Mauricio was able to get up there, and he actually flew this morning, which is why the show has been a little bit delayed later into the day, so he had time to actually edit the images and get them to us so we could organize everything. So glad we were able to still pull that off. It is on a little bit short notice, and we haven't necessarily had time to go through all of the images yet. We have, gone through a good amount, but we also got stuck in one area for a rather long time, which I have a feeling we'll do on this show possibly again. But yeah, with that said, we have some different guests with us this week than normal, at least normally with me. So we have Jake today. Jake, thanks for being here.
Hey everyone, hope you're all doing really well. And yeah, we've got some pretty awesome photos that have come through this week from this flyover, and definitely some exciting new discoveries as well, which we'll get into later on.
Yeah, and also joining us is Josh. Thanks for being here, Josh.
Hey.
Someone says Zach on dial-up again. Is my connection doing all right? How's
You
Yeah,
are
very
pretty
robot.
robotic right now.
It comes and goes.
Well, let me see if I can. I don't really have anything else open right now.
I was trying to find a good time to say something.
Sometimes you just gotta cut in, buddy. Yeah, I mean, on my side, it looks like it's. I don't even know what this means. Average ping 40 milliseconds. Well, hopefully it. I mean, is it sounding all right now?
Nope.
Okay.
It's not horrible, but it's like the potato comes and goes. At least that's
Yeah.
how I'm hearing it. I say we give it a shot. Go for it.
Okay. Well, yeah. If it works, it works. If not, then I may have somebody take over, possibly. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyways, yeah, we will be starting this week over at Massey's like usual. And I forgot, since I kind of got interrupted there by my bad signal. Matt will be doing donations or questions and donations, I think, or is that Indian Star? I should have asked before the show.
Indy will be.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking care of that for us, Indy. Hope you're doing well.
Always my pleasure. Thank you. I am.
Great. Well, yeah, I will save the launch site news for the launch site, but those of you who have been paying attention on X will know that there was a little incident last night involving during one of the deluge tests, or basically at the end of the deluge test, ended up having a bit of an explosive incident happen in the tank farm, in the deluge farm. So, yeah, as much as I want to jump into that right now, we will save that for a bit later and go ahead and start us off at Massey's. And I may let Jake kind of lead us through Massey's because I haven't had a chance to actually check through most of the stuff here. So we do have ship 40
Yep.
on the pad right now for cryo testing. So Jake, you want to?
So yeah, so we got the as Zach said, we got the next ship in line, ship 40 up for its cryo testing, and it is actually being tested on the new ship thrust sim stand, which is pretty exciting. And it looks like they are going to be using the truss structure again for more cryo testing. So they've got the 6 pistons on the bottom are connected to the aft flaps via various wire rigging. And then this time, they are going to be pulling on the forward flaps, but they've redone the system at the top of the truss structure to pull on those flaps. So previously, it was 3 lots of rigging running across the top platform through the orange rollers, and on each end of that rigging was connected to a forward flap. But this time, they're using 3 actuators on each forward flap, pretty much similar to what they're doing down at the aft flaps.
Is there a better view of this that I should maybe try and find?
Yeah, I can't remember which number was it. I think as of this flyover, the forward flaps weren't hooked up yet, but you can see, you can see the new actuators there on the left.
Is there only one on each side, or is this another one?
3. So there's one there, and you go, above the scaffolding, and then there's another one somewhere. I don't know if it's under the scaffolding at this point, or if it was next to it.
Interesting. Yeah, I wonder if they're getting different information, or if they just didn't like what they were seeing with these ones. It wasn't working as they hoped it would.
Yeah, I should imagine it's a lot of what you said there. I mean, yeah, I can't say I'm surprised to see that they're switching to 3 actuators per forward flap now. And
Yeah,
of
this is
course,
interesting.
the pistons installed at the top of this structure now, they're actually attached to 2 new frames that were fabricated in Sanchez. So yeah, those are the new additions as well since the last time we saw a ship out here for testing.
Is it this whole thing right here?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen this before, but I didn't know they actually installed it over here. Did they put something else down below as well too?
Don't think there's anything new down there with those actuators. That's still the same setup as last time. The only other real change to the truss structure is the staircase going up on the side. Although we might have talked about that already. I'm not sure.
Finally.
Yeah.
Man, that thing's rusty.
Yeah, and that's happened pretty quickly. Not that that's much of a surprise.
Yeah, we have gotten a lot of rain over the past few weeks, so if you don't paint it immediately, then that's what happens.
Yeah. And I'm interested to see if they'll actually go and use the because there's still those two pistons in front of the truss structure in the little baskets. I'm curious to see if they go to use those this time on this ship. The ones at the top just underneath the forward flaps.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah.
Should I just like exit out of Discord altogether and come back in?
You might have to. Yeah, sorry guys, we're gonna have technical difficulties for just about 30 seconds. So give us just a second, and he will be back.
This is just the intermission, and Matt will start bringing out around ice cream for everyone.
I think it might be because he was in studio first.
Maybe, yeah.
Because he's the only one that's going iffy.
He back.
How's it sound now?
Man, that sounds perfect.
Oh yeah, much better.
Okay. Well, all right. I guess that was probably because I was hosting the stream in here, and
Yeah.
Yep, that's what we were
be
just
the first one in
literally
the room
talking
if I'm the
about.
streamer.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, so where did we leave off? You were talking about these actuators, something down here.
Yeah, there's the two upright actuators that have got the funny little T-shaped heads on the tops of them. Because we haven't actually seen those used yet. They weren't used on ship 39, but I'm curious to see if they're going to use them on ship 40 at all. And I still think that they'll end up being hooked to the trailing edges of the forward flaps, the eyelets on the trailing edges. And I think they'll pull down and back a bit on those.
The structure is pretty crazy. So are they on the ones you're talking about? Are on this, right?
Actually, are the
Can't see
pistons still
them.
in those baskets? They were there before.
Was it in here? On this?
Yeah, I think that's actually the top of one you see in there. That little grey rectangle right underneath the forward flap. I think that's the head of one of them.
Man, it's like there's so many details sometimes that it's hard to actually be able to see them without the exact perfect angle. But elsewhere on Ship 40, so one of the things that they've been doing is yet more tile experiments, right? I haven't even really checked to see what the differences are between 40 and 39. I do know that they have additional patterns on the front of it now, which I don't think we're going to be able to see from any of these angles. But are there any new tiles that have shown up on the backside?
No, the window
sides?
side looks relatively unchanged from what we see with 39. I will say though, there's 6 patches on the leeward side. There's 2 big squares, which I'm assuming is testing the adhesive again, and then there's 3 the lower down ones, which are basically like 2 rows of tiles on top of each other. I think they seem to be over weld seams, so it seems like they're testing how those tiles hold up over those weld seams during the testing. Which is, yeah.
Yeah, this part right here is interesting as well too.
Oh, the ablative, yeah.
I mean, you might as well just do it all over the whole thing at this point, right?
Yeah, I'm curious to see what they're actually going to do long term, because obviously they've got to have that installed there to protect the sides of the ships during re-entry. But I should imagine when they go to start catching these ships, that ablative is going to start being ripped off each time if they go forward using just that. I feel like they're going to have to come up with some more solid protection for the sides eventually.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that stream for Flight 12 because I hope they are going to explain those tile experiments. 'Cause usually we sit around guessing what they're doing until we actually get answers during those streams. One other thing that they... Sorry, go ahead.
I'd say it's worth mentioning as well, these tile experiments, they're appearing everywhere at the moment. They've been on Ship 39, they're on Ship 40, they're on S39 test tank, they're on B18.3 test tank. They're just sticking them on any steel surface that's going to flex during testing. They're just literally anywhere they can find for that kind of thing. It's getting pretty serious about these experiments.
You're saying they're on all because I remember there was one on this one, right?
Nothing on that one. But Ship 39, there's a big patch on the side, on the opposite side. Then there's some more on the external stringers near the QD. And then B18.3 has got 3 patches of tiles on it as well.
On the other side?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we should see that cryo test. They haven't done their first test yet, right? Because they've been doing all the setup.
There might have been an ambient test yesterday, maybe, because the nitrogen vaporizers were seen getting frosty. And I guess we might see a cryo test later today, maybe.
Yeah, I would expect if they're done setting all this stuff up. I mean, we could see from that overhead angle that there's a ton of people on that right now, getting all this stuff set up. So maybe they'll have it done before the day is over. So they did finish, and I don't know if this was done last week, but they did finish the little boil-off pond for what we believe is probably methane. So they dug a little underground line over here. So you have your LOX pond just out of frame down here, and then this one likely for methane. So that is an interesting change, which is kind of weird. It's just out of nowhere. So I'm wondering what led to this, but maybe we'll be able to get some ideas once we actually see during testing. Specifically, I want to see what happens if it's used, if it's basically the same thing as the Raptor chill, because this is kind of one of those things that I've suspected they were doing, is also cycling methane through those engines, but back to the tank farm essentially, instead of just letting it vent like this. So very interesting change right there, and kind of creates a interesting situation where you have your oxidizer in a pool over here and your fuel in a pool over there. So what could possibly go wrong with that? But
they say, with a nice big fiery source right in between the ponds.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the least of the worries of anything that could possibly happen out here. But one of the things that I thought was interesting during the, was it called Test Like You Fly, little mini documentary, is that they seem to expect this to actually be able to withstand another event like what happened before, which is interesting to me. I mean, I would expect this part to survive, but I think they would maybe end up with very similar problems on this side of the tank farm. But hopefully we never have to find out. So moving down a little bit, unless there was some other things with Ship 40 that I should mention.
No, that's everything for that. Although I will say one little thing about the COPV testing area. We did actually see a little while ago that they did start disassembling one of those frames with the pipe on it, but it does now seem to be back up in place. So yeah, not quite sure what that was about.
Yeah, very interesting that this is a permanent test station now, instead of just a one-time thing for them to try and solve a problem.
Although I haven't actually seen any COPVs move into Marcy's in quite a while.
Yeah, it's been a few months for sure. I think the last time was in either January or February, I think. Something like that.
Yeah.
So moving over to other areas of the Massey's site, they have started, or they, I guess, finished the foundation for the new tanks that are going in back here. So these are pretty large foundations for sure. A little bit confusing because we can tell there's eight pads on each side, but then there's another pad over here, which I can't tell if these are embed plates or not, but it appears that maybe something is going to go underneath one of these tanks.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty much what they're doing with a lot of the other horizontal storage tanks as well, installing stuff underneath them.
But it's weird to have such a thick pad for anything that goes underneath this. It almost makes me think that we may see a shorter, like the bigger methane tanks at the launch site, the large diameter ones. It makes me think that we might see a short tank here for a while until they get the big tank in.
Maybe, yeah, that would make sense. Cool.
But in general, these things are massive. These are way bigger than these tanks. So looking at it from this angle, you can kind of see it a little bit better. Well, I guess they're not that much larger, but they definitely are a bit larger diameter. So I guess we'll see at least 4 of these go in there. And tough to tell if they're going to be making changes with the actual like pump side of the farm. Where there was a good image that showed it. This might be decent. So they still haven't removed the old LOX pumps over here. So kind of a sign that they're going to use them still, but may or may not still be used for LOX. And then on the other side of the farm over there, I don't think we've seen any changes either with the pumps for that system. So,
No.
Yeah, let's see, with the cryo stations, I don't think we have much with the.
Yeah,
Nothing really much on this one for a while.
Yeah, not really any change of that recently. Although I am curious to see if they actually go to totally redo this cryo station at some point, so they can actually use the new ship thrust sim stand over here.
Yeah,
because I feel like having only one place to be able to test ships at the moment now over the static fire test pad is probably not the wisest thing. Because if anything happens at that pad again, you've obviously not only taken out your static fire test capability, but you've also taken out your cryo testing capability as well.
yeah, for sure. I I guess if they did have another issue, because the cryo stand was down the whole time the tank farm was down anyways, so I guess it wouldn't necessarily be a huge problem having both of them offline at the same time.
Yeah.
But again, hopefully we never have to find out. Moving over to these other test articles, I actually haven't been able to see what they've done with these over the last few weeks.
So yeah, so we've got obviously S39.1 here. They've had the various actuators hooked up to the aft flap hinge points on one side and to the ship QD panel as well. I think they've done about 3, 4 tests, 2 tests with everything hooked up. And if you get there's that one patch of tiles there on that one side. Though I haven't been able to figure out yet if all those tiles came off during testing or if they've been removed by hand. Because that was one
fully tiled before?
Yeah, it was one solid black square.
Well, that would be pretty wild if that many of them fell off.
Yeah.
Yes, we know the results of that test, if that's the case. So have they tested 18 point? Oh my gosh.
18.3.
Yeah.
I think they've done 3 tests of it since it's been in the Supercrusher. The first test they didn't have. I think they only had the cap sitting on top of it, with nothing else connected. I think they've done 2 tests with more of the pistons connected. They still haven't done a test though with the pistons hooked up to the grid fin simulators yet. That's still due to be done at some point.
Yeah, I was looking at those earlier, but they do have all the actuators on there now, right?
Yeah, all the actuators are there. They're just not all fully hooked up yet. But they do seem to have actually started hooking them up. I think it was on the diagonal, one of the diagonal actuators for testing the catch points on one of the simulators. I think that's actually, yeah, that one right there on the
This
left
one?
side. We zoom in underneath go to the left a bit and down. You can see where one of them's now leaning out up towards the bottom of the simulator. So they have started connecting them by the looks of it.
Man, yeah, this is a super serious test rig right here. But we also have another new test article that's been moved out here over the last week, which was a bit of a surprise. So in the nose cone jail, okay. Thought that was going to be a good angle for it, but I guess not. So in the nose cone jail, they have a new test article, which is a booster header tank, basically a LOX header tank.
Yeah.
This top-down one might be good. I know there's got to be a better one, though. There we go. Yeah, so we have a booster LOX header tank here, which seems to be connected with all of the same attachment points that are used inside the actual vehicle. But these don't look like actuators; they just look like struts.
Yeah, everything that's hooked up to that tank right now is all just non-moving parts.
So this is a little bit weird because, I mean, I'm pretty sure they've already done this stuff at McGregor.
They've tested one LOX head landing tank at McGregor, and that one looked to have actually been tested to destruction. But yeah, this will be the second test article. Although I will say with the methane transfer tubes, I think they've had 3, 4 separate test articles of that now. So this might not even be the final LOX landing tank test article. There might even be another one after this again.
The fact that they're still testing things like this makes me wonder if this is a critical item for Flight 12 or not.
I'd like to think
obviously they're not going to. Yeah, I mean, obviously they're not going to be returning back to the launch site, but I mean, if they're basically trying to make sure that the header tank will survive different types of maneuvers that the booster is doing while it's gimbaling engines, and also probably during the high angle attack re-entry. I think that they're basically wanting it to make sure that it's going to survive all of those bending forces and whatnot. And that seems like something that you want to know before Flight 12. I mean, obviously some of these could be testing for things that they plan on doing, on Flight 13. Like maybe they'll do kind of a more simple flight profile this time and then a more aggressive one next time. And, this is verification that they'll be able to do the more aggressive one next time. But I do also think that there's a chance that this stuff is important for Flight 12, which is interesting because, as many of you know, the first possible launch date is supposed to be was it the 12th?
Yeah.
12th through the 18th is what they listed or something like that.
Yeah, although I'm not entirely sure that date can actually be taken that seriously. Yes,
it seems very optimistic. I personally don't really think there's a ton of chance that that actually ends up happening, but I would love to be proven wrong. Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. They have so much stuff that they're testing at the same time, and it's like, how is this not causing delays?
I guess if they get at least one test with everything hooked up to each of these test tanks, that might be enough data for them for Flight 12. But then there's other things that are going to delay. If they need to go and do another test of B9, starting flight test of B19, then that's surely going to push it way past May 12th, the launch date.
Definitely. So you're thinking there's going to be a cap on top of this, right?
Yeah, if you go over near the LR 1100, you can see on the floor there's a little black ring that's been sitting around for a while. Is it over there? Maybe further back next to the Supercrusher. Basically, see the end of the cribbing.
There we go.
So yeah, I think that's going to be the actual the crusher cap for the top of that LOX landing tank. I did before I saw the LOX landing tank test article turn up. I was thinking it was maybe going to be a nose cone test article with a docking adapter on the top of it, and I was thinking that was going to pull down on the docking adapter. But yeah, no, I think that's going to go on top of the LOX landing tank.
Yeah, we get excited when we start to think we're seeing HLS related things, and then it never is.
Because that's the other thing I'll say about the LOX landing tank. You'll notice if you zoom in right into the top of it, there's actually an extra ring at the top there that peeks up past the edge of the cone. That looks to be made of a different steel, and I think that's probably going to be the interface for that cap.
That would make sense. Yeah, I mean, anything that's not supposed to be on there, probably used for that purpose.
Because of course, that's the other thing you'll see in this test article as well. There's all those crevices all up the sides of it, which I think is a lot. That's going to be just test hardware. I don't think we saw that
all
on
of these.
Yeah, I don't think we saw all of those on the landing tank in B18.
Yeah, man. I mean, on one side, I'm really glad to just see such extensive testing, but on the other side, it makes me feel like things are being rushed a little bit. Which, I mean, it makes sense that they to some degree may not be able to like afford so much downtime, because how long has it been right now? 6 months.
Yeah, I think we're just over 200 days now since the last flight. I mean, if it pushes past the middle past, I think a couple of days past the 12th of May, that's going to be the longest ever time between flights.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, as with my YouTube channel, sometimes I wish for different things than other people do. Like, for example, right now I kind of want the launch to get pushed to June just because it gives me more time to do things. But at the same time, one of the things that I don't like is covering, failures. It is great to have, oh, wow, we got a, something that people will be interested in figuring out what happened here. But, I'd rather cover cool things about successful flight tests. So, yeah, I'm really hoping that they just like knock it out of the park on on Flight 12, and that there's no anomaly to speak about. And for that reason, I would rather see them completely finish the qualification testing instead of partially qualifying the vehicle and running I guess less extreme versions of the actual planned flight profile just to compensate for not having the data yet.
Yeah, I think SpaceX is probably in a bit of a tricky situation right now. I mean, they've got to be making sure things start going right from the get-go with the version 3 vehicles, but then they've also got a lot of lost time to make up for as well. And I mean, they got that massive pressure from Artemis 3 next year as well. That's the next Artemis flight now requires landers, so I should imagine they're a bit
Yeah.
they've got to get everything just right now, and they've also got to make up the lost time. So it's like, yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one.
Yeah, for sure. I do hope we see Artemis testing hardware out here soon, sooner rather than later. So fingers crossed on that. So what else do we have going on at Massey's?
I think we've covered. There's some down by the tent. There's some framework of interest down there.
Is this the tent?
Yeah. So the framework right in the middle of the picture there. Go down a bit. So those are some of the smaller. Go down more where the grade did.
Wait, what is this?
Is.
Fire suppression.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we saw little L-shaped frames sitting around for quite a while, and it now looks like they've got grating on top of them. So platforms of some kind. I'm starting to think this is maybe going to be for another test stand, or possibly for a new QD axis structure over at the ship cryo station. That's my thinking at the moment.
It's a fairly long walking platform.
There is more framework over by the big white building as well, the bigger shaped frames with some grating panels sitting next to them.
There's additional platform they never installed for the testing tower.
I'm trying to find a good angle of that, and I don't really see one. I'm going to go blind looking at these tiny thumbnails, trying to find images. I feel like there's not one of that area, but I guess there should be since you found that down there.
Oh, they're right above your mouse. Just to the right. And of the right above
these?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're thinking these are for the structure?
I think so. Yeah, I think they're going to go with probably they'll add them since they did hook up the flaps. They'll probably make some structures here so they don't have to use as many baskets. But there's another walkway like they have 3/4 of the way up, but it was sitting on the far left of the site previously by where the piles were lined up. I don't know if it's still there. I just noticed that all the subcoolers by the blast wall are gone.
Oh, the one, yeah. Do they move them? Are they down somewhere else? Or did they take them to McGregor?
I think they went to North Texas.
2 of them right here.
Oh, there they are. There. Yeah, okay, never mind. Yeah, the other walkway would be by the white tanks stage area in the grass. I don't have to see it.
Back here?
Yeah, is where they were for a while.
I think I saw it down by the white tent at the bottom earlier.
Oh.
Is it the one with the mitered ends on it?
It might have been.
Because I'm sure I saw one down here earlier.
Well, let's see if we have some questions from Massey's really quick. And I know we have a ton of donations that have come in as well. So
we do. We'll start off with the donations. And we want to welcome Starship Gazer Greg to the team. He's an RGV Early Access member. We want to thank Martin for his 20-pound donation. And he did that over 3 different times. And he said, going to be a good show and for fuel and O2. We also want to thank Yazada for his $5 donation. And then we want to thank DMHMT for her $4.99 donation and says, thanks for the marathon presentation today. And then All for One had a question. What would the trade-off be between flaring the CH4 versus pooling it? In his opinion, the pool is temp.
Well, they have a flare stack way over here that's been there forever. So, I mean, I guess we kind of assumed that that's what they were doing this whole time was, instead of reclaiming what is equivalent of the Raptor chill collection for the methane side, that they were just flaring it. But maybe they just don't want open flames during testing anymore. I can't really think of any other reason why not route it all the way over here, because it's really not, I mean, it's like twice as far, but I can't really think of a reason why it wouldn't just go all the way to the flare stack. I don't know if maybe Alex has ideas on that.
No, I have audio issues, but no idea why they would. I just find the whole idea of just dumping it to a pond kind of bizarre myself as well, but
I don't like it, honestly, but
Hey, Zach, my thought
there's
was
obviously a reason behind it that I don't understand.
my thought was the speed at which they could dump it versus the speed at which they can burn it off. They could just drain it quick and get rid of it, dumping it, versus sending it to the stack that has to be burnt at a specific rate, maybe.
Yeah, because I think with this one, what they did, part of it was holding it in this the temporary holding tank before releasing it to that.
that's a Firex tank.
This one, yeah. Sorry, the previous tank for this.
The previous
I think was
was
replaced by these.
The knockdown drum for doing liquid separation.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I feel like flare stacks don't necessarily have a max rate that you can send gas to them, because they really need to be able to just they are part of an emergency system as well, as well as just boil off management. They're often part of emergency releases situations, so you need to be able to put a lot more volume of gas through there usually. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm hoping that once the next static fire test happens, it's like a full 60-second video, and then we can see what's happening elsewhere. Because the video that they posted last time during that documentary was the first time we were able to actually see this water farm during operation, because in every other view that they've ever posted during those static fire tests, like, you can't see this part of the farm. So we actually finally got to see what these tanks are doing during that test, which is something I was waiting on for a long time. But yeah, so moving on, was there another question?
Yeah, there's one more. Craneman is wondering, could the graded L-shaped panels be for on top of the plumbing and the pipe racks left of the ship static fire stand and some other pipe racks?
Like on top of this?
I believe so.
Possibly. I mean, I was kind of expecting them to do that over here, but I don't know if grading is enough to protect those. So, I mean, possibly for the methane farm, it would make more sense, I guess.
So just protecting it from overhead debris, I could see them using it just grading. I originally thought that's where the grading was going as well.
Top of these?
Yeah, or especially the ones right next to the stand, but...
What is that?
It looks like it's the other side for the box vent.
The one down here.
Yeah, to go from the opposite angle.
Oh, okay. I see that.
Yeah. Why it needs that much ventilation from, I don't know, but obviously they back pressure.
That almost makes it seem like they're going to be actually using these soon, which makes no sense.
It's one way for them to cut down on their helium usage, as if they, especially if they could figure out a way to circulate at times, which I don't know.
So like actively cool the tanks.
Yeah.
I have wondered why they don't do that.
It's hard to maintain pressure because the atmospheric gas above it will keep condensing out, so you'll keep losing you're constantly having a pump pressure in, which doesn't really sound like that big of a deal, but for some applications it can be.
Okay. Very interesting. Alrighty. Well, unless we have anything else that we haven't mentioned, I guess we can probably move over to the Sanchez site.
Yep, I think we've covered everything pretty well at Marcy's.
Awesome. So we are finally getting launch mount sections up to the Sanchez site, which is nice to see, but also weird at the same time because they are arriving out of order. So these are the second deck, the, I guess, mechanical deck, and the fluids deck on the bottom have not arrived yet. So that's weird. It's usually you want stuff to arrive as it's needed so that you're not just taking up space for no reason. But I suppose they're not in a rush to necessarily get started on this yet. Although it seems like they're preparing to soon. Looks like they're resurfacing these.
No, those are just replacement plates, because there's two on the pallets by the crane mats.
Right here.
Yeah, they're just shims.
Yeah, that makes me wonder if, I mean, because these weren't on here before, I don't think. So it makes me wonder if they just added them on here because of how rusty these are now.
That, or they're shimming it because maybe there's been some slight settling.
Didn't we actually see? Didn't they use wood or something under the previous launch mount? Was they had something under the previous one? I'm pretty sure.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
But that would be kind of crazy, especially with the piles that they have underneath these for that to sink. Just gives you an idea of how heavy that structure is, if that's the case.
They didn't tie them together either, which is, so you're hoping that everything will settle at the same rate.
Yeah, that makes sense. So next to these, we also have all of the, or I think most of the manifold sections for the flame deflector ramp. So these are all of the straight pieces of I think we're still waiting on the pieces for the edges of the ramp. But most of these have arrived at this point.
Yeah, I think when Stephanie counted them earlier, it was 80 pipes?
Yeah.
That pile there, I think.
Yeah.
So we have those. We have this manifold right here, which is going to be literally like 2 to 3 months before they're ready to install that.
I was going to say, yeah, that's another thing that's turned up way earlier than it's actually needed.
So
it's just in the middle of everything. It's like, why is it in the way of everything? Put it on this rack.
Let's build it upside down.
I mean,
yeah,
it could turn out to be more efficient somehow. We also have some random stuff down here, which I don't really know much to say about it. I think this is some plumbing for the possibly for the water farm for pad 1.
Yeah, and that's a sump next to above it. That's one of the wells
for the flame trench.
Yeah,
sump pump. Yeah,
one of the stair That's one of the stairs for the tower they're building at Massey's. One of the landings.
Yeah, there's another one just over the road as well.
Oh, did they take the grid fin that were sitting there?
No,
No,
still
they're
there.
still here.
Yeah.
There was
I wonder if those are going to go on display or something.
Could, yeah.
I think so.
I mean, yeah, they seem to be
Along
holding on
with,
to that manifold sitting in the crane yard.
Didn't Booster 17's aft section get moved up here?
It's further up. It's
Further
where
up, okay.
where all the power stuff used to be.
I guess we'll get to that here shortly. I will just burn through this stuff over here really quick. So the third booster transport stand is still under getting basically transformed over for the new hold down clamps and whatnot. Fourth ship transport stand, and then the third one over here. That one looks like it's mostly finished now. And that's pretty much it for down there. Then Booster 17's aft section up here, which I guess we're thinking may go into that rocket garden. I mean, at least that's what I've been thinking. I'm not sure what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, possibly, but then I guess it begs the question, if they're going to keep an aft section in this generation of booster, then why didn't they keep B-18s aft as well?
I feel like they should have just kept the whole booster.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it would be even better, like, as part of that display stand to be able to, you know, have a walkway around this so you can actually look inside of it. That would be cool. But also, keeping a full second gen booster, I think would have been nice.
They do have a full second gen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Damn, how could you forget about Booster 12?
Yeah, I don't think about it very much, honestly.
Damn.
They need to build a set of stairs through that thing, like the Statue of Liberty, let you go all the way to the top.
Put windows in it.
Heck yeah.
I feel like there's only one other thing happening in Sanchez this week, so I'm kind of scrolling through these because I haven't had a chance to go through them until we wind up in the area that I know Jake wants to talk about, and I guess we're kind of there now.
Yeah, so the that larger black cradle, the U-shaped structure in the top left, we've now actually seen a label on it.
Can you say what it is, Jake, please?
Booster horizontal aft frame.
Ah,
Yeah, transport cradle.
Okay, thank you.
And then we have the other one over here, which I don't know how y'all read this one.
That's a bit more up to interpretation. I
think you might be seeing what you want to see on this one.
Yeah, I'm not. It might say horizontal breakover system, but I'm not 100% sure with it. It's a bit too blurry.
Was this the same image that you were using to figure that out, or is there another one?
No, it's this image.
Okay.
So you think this word right here is breakover? BREAK.
I don't know.
OVER.
Maybe.
Sure looks like it.
Yeah, it was a group effort. It wasn't just Jake,
Yeah.
The group.
Don't dump on Jake here.
Horizontal.
Yeah, I think it's the first word says horizontal, and I think the last one says system, but that middle word is, I don't know.
Doesn't it say ibuprofen?
Literally, if you told me this was Braille, I'd believe you, because that's about as legible as Braille.
Sure looks like VER at the end of the middle there. Oh.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say run it through AI, but I'm not sure how that would go.
You guys are the AI.
So this would be the component probably that goes at the, I don't know, on one side of the actual stand. Is this actually part of the transport as well too, or are they?
No,
You guys
I
thinking
don't
two
think so.
separate?
I think it's the two the structure. The first one we're talking about, I think that's going to be for the aft end of the boosters, because you can actually see 4 clamp points on that structure, and I'm assuming the other tabs in between are going to be like pads of some kind, and then the other U-shaped structure, I think, is going to be the cradle for the.
Wait, so are you talking
forward.
about these right here,
So they see
or these?
you got look at the yeah. So the silver structures, I think they're going to have clamps on them, and there's 2 more things sticking out further at the bottom. Yeah, those I think are going to be clamp points as well, and then the tabs in between, I think, are going to have like some sort of pads on them. The rest against the after the booster.
That's a lot wider than 9 meters.
I mean, this is 9 meters, right?
Yeah. I guess I could see those silver things do extend like the current transport stand, so.
And you can see the bolt patterns in them. I think that's pretty much what we see in the arms on the transport stands. That same bolt pattern.
Alex, that bolt pat? No, I'm kidding. Embeds. Okay.
And then I
For
think,
transport stands, if I can find it. What was that, Jake?
And I was going to say, yeah, the other U-shaped structure, I think that's probably going to be for the forwards of the booster. There's no label on it yet, but I wouldn't be surprised when it does get labelled. That's what it'll say on there.
Yeah, or it could be for the ship too.
Or the ship. But I think I think the first thing we'll see move to the Cape is going to be a booster, I think.
I mean, the ships, they have a built-in way of getting them there that doesn't require.
True.
Whether they'll use fire.
The first time.
Yeah. Here, your first thing you gotta do is catch the ship. Good luck.
So moving up to here, we do have a new structure being built over here, which, I mean, I'm guessing is related to the Pez dispenser loader.
Yeah, it does look
Possibly.
like it'll be another one of those boxes. Because we do, I can't find the images now, but when we saw parts going into high bay for the last loader, they looked exactly the same as what we see in here now. I'm interested though. Why is there only 2
is it like a new one or just a second one?
This is a second one because, because I think people have speculated that they can't actually fit a full 60 satellites in one loader box, so they're probably going to need 2 loaders per ship.
Interesting.
I'm curious to know as well why, with the base array, why have they only got 2 horizontal beams in place before starting the upright sections of this?
Alignment. You have the 2 walls that you. Because it's sort of like it's the same way. It's the opposite. It's sort of how it is in the vehicle as well, though. I thought it only has primarily one axis, and then you're just bridging the 2 sides together.
Yeah, and I'm looking at those the pillars of that, and they got attachment points on it for the other 2 horizontals. That's probably why those verticals are going in place first.
I do see a relevant question in the chat. So Frederick Loggerush, I probably just butchered that. I'm sorry. Donated $20 and asked, do any of you know where all the heavy steel fabrication is done? Suppliers who make large steel parts locally in Brownsville, Corpus, Houston, elsewhere, really all over the place. So some of these parts they subcontract out to like third party. Things like this potentially would maybe come from like McGregor, because McGregor does like a ton of fabrication. Actually, I would say these probably came from McGregor. This possibly as well. But usually anything related to transporting vehicles is made at McGregor, which means transports and test stands usually at McGregor as well. Stuff for like the Gigabay is all third party. But I think they try to do as much as they can in house, and then subcontract other things out if they need to.
Yeah, I think more of the exotic, like the OLM, the clamp arms. That's all third party, but
right.
From what I can remember, I think one of the companies that SpaceX was using for fabrication was a company called Prospect Steel, if I'm remembering correctly.
yeah.
Don't know if SpaceX still has anything to do with them, but yeah, that was just a bit of information I retained.
Yeah, and a lot of it, I think, has to do with until SpaceX internally feels they have enough work to support keeping that number of employees doing that. And will they come up to speed?
Yeah.
It's like they're branching out and doing their own heavy lift stuff now. From the SPMTs, now they have the trailers, so
Will certainly be interesting. Oh, okay. Sorry, just got distracted by this. I wanted to move over to this other little test article over here just to see if they've done anything with it. It is so hard to find things in Sanchez. So still no progress with this one.
Yeah, not really any change there this week. It's the same with that steel framework sitting nearby as well.
But this is another one of those things that I was talking about like an hour ago. Like, how is this not something that needs to be done before Flight 12? I mean, is it just because they're not catching the booster? Because to me, this is more than just like when does the booster actually get the most dynamic loading on those chopsticks, or sorry, the grid fins? Is it when it lands on the landing rail, or is it?
No, it's aerodynamic forces.
It's making it, yeah, exactly, right. So, so how is this not something that's needed for Flight 12?
Probably right when it's in the transonic regime, when those grid fins turn up essentially opaque to the oncoming air.
So this should be needed before Flight 12.
Yes. Yeah, but the other alternative argument is that they got extremely paranoid and don't trust their vendors anymore, and now they're going to test everything.
When you lose trust with vendors, that becomes a very expensive lifestyle.
I mean, they bought the COPV company.
Yeah, expensive lifestyle.
When you're valued at how much are they estimated to make in their IPO? They just lit $40 billion on fire on an AI company.
Yeah, no comment.
So,
yeah, so yeah. I do wonder if we'll see that soon, and I'm still wondering if it's related to this at all, which is still just sitting there. Looks like they're still working on the bridge crane rails, or the I don't know. These aren't the bridge crane rails themselves, but the supports for the bridge crane rails.
Yeah,
level 6 on the Gigabay, which they have started putting up this week.
We can probably just move over there, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't been following construction of this bay quite as closely as BJ, so yeah, don't know how much I can talk about it.
We can figure it out on the fly. So they've gotten up to, I think this is the 4th level.
Yeah.
On cladding, so
well,
it really from the ground it looks really good.
I was going to say technically it's 5th level if you count the cladding that hasn't been installed at the bottom yet.
Right. Yeah. Good point. So they got that cladding, and then they also finished. I'm guessing this may have been finished like last week or something. Deleting the window that was here, unfortunately.
I think that just was closed up. The end of last
A few
week.
days ago, I think.
Yeah.
Not long ago.
I hate it so much. But the thing is, when everybody gets pictures from the ground, they're usually able to see to the top of the nose cones through this window still, right?
Yeah, it's angle.
How is that possible?
The window's probably 15 feet above the ground, so you're shooting up. And the rows that they're working on, the cones, is pretty far back from that window, because that's that whole mezzanine that they have running along Highway 4 that they squared the building off with.
Yeah, I like the ground images looking at it from this direction because it's really cool. It almost looks like it's all in one structure. But yeah, I mean, they did get up to, I guess it was what the 6th level is what they've started on right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a final level.
No, it's level 7 above that, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's a final work area, I should say.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because the next section is a roof truss and stuff. And this is a confusing one where it's the levels become blurry, I thought, as far as, because there's different height columns for those bridge crane supports, depending which side of the factory it's on, I think.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah, I think
I really
BJ
thought
was
there
saying,
would be more. Go
sorry.
ahead.
I'm pretty sure BJ was saying that the last 3 levels were kind of like half or off-sized levels, and so, but altogether it was basically 7.
Right. Yeah, because this side where I think, has an extra level snuck in just because you have the 2 rows of bridge cranes. On the stacking side.
This side?
Yeah, that's the factory side. Yeah.
You know what's? I'm kind of confused why they have the headers on the doors are so low. Because I assumed that they would have cranes driving these, lifting these ring sections through here and placing them onto the turntables.
Yeah, unless they're lifting the vehicle and they're just slotting them under like an upside down Pez dispenser. The
But
ring.
I mean, unless the turntable is going to be embedded into the ground, then you would think that you need to lift the ring sections into there.
Yeah, I don't know how the nose cones would work without because that doesn't seem like there's a lot of clearance with those headers. But the normal 4 rings, I can kind of see them just sliding them in like a loading a Pez dispenser upside down. But that doesn't work, obviously, for the ships because those are coming out in fairly large sections.
Yeah, this is the weirdest part of the whole building that I don't fully understand yet. But yeah, it is nice to see that they're making a ton of progress, and there's just so many operations going on at the same time because you have, cladding, and I'm sure now that they've started cladding, maybe on the bottom floors, they may start doing mechanical stuff like any pipe work or HVAC is going to be interesting here. But yeah, and then you also have another crew painting. Every few nights they come in and do concrete on the floors. You got people doing the rebar for the floors. It's just madness in there.
Yeah, unfortunately, once this cladding goes up, we don't see any of that finished work. That's, I'm sure, is happening now on the first 2 levels.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it's already, now with the cladding on the backside, it has definitely blocked a good portion of the view looking into Mega Bay 2. Like, they could be doing It was like circuses or gymnastics where they're like twirling in the air, hanging from those ropes. You know what I mean? They'd be doing that in the doorway, and we would have no idea.
Yeah, pretty soon it's just going to be. You'll see the
Aerobatics.
transport stand sneaking over.
Not much we can really see else from these angles right now with the doors closed. On the back side, not much new over here either. They do have the static fire test stand over here.
Why did they tarp it?
Is that a booster lifting jig?
Yeah.
Maybe that's a new one.
Maybe. It's weird that's all tarp.
They need a new one.
Definitely more than one.
Yeah.
And
well, as long as nothing happens to another booster at Massey's, they're probably good with one for now, right?
Yeah. They're not they're not a superstitious lot, so.
Okay. Well, I don't know if there's much else for us to talk about over here, and neither at the Star Factory. I don't even think I have Star Factory open right now. Was there any? Did we look at during show and tell at the Star Factory? Was there anything there?
No, we didn't have a chance yet. So, yeah, we're about to discover things for the first time, probably.
I took a quick look at some during the flyover, and I noticed there's a out back behind where the loading dock is. They have a nice pile of stuff sitting out in front of the loading, blocking the loading dock. So, but not really anything noteworthy that I could find at a quick glance.
Okay. Cool. Nothing in the village. Oh, actually, we probably do need to go to the village. Which I didn't have open yet, so here we go. So let's check in on the new alleged rocket garden. They have they have started to do the concrete on whatever this is.
Yeah, you can see this.
Stairway.
Let's say you can see where there's probably going to be beams running across the middle there as well, on the top of that. The wall.
Beams. Oh, here.
No, if we go over to the other wall, see along the top there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and embeds.
And then along the wall by the left, you can see the rebar stub outs on the far section.
This one?
No, the
other
in
side.
here.
Yeah,
other
right
side, and on the other side of the wall too, and the plywood, you can see the by the orange and cream lift. Yeah, you can see the rebars going up along the wall where it's gonna on the diagonal. So it's gonna be like stair steps coming up. Right below your hand.
Down here?
No,
Or
no,
you're still talking about over here.
Yeah, over there.
Yeah, you're talking about these. Yeah.
No, down below.
Oh, wait. This.
Yeah, it's going to be a ramp stairs coming up
with a clear
so
walkway
Booster
over top.
7's Booster 17's aft section is probably going to go here with a walking platform around it.
Yeah. Of all the things to celebrate.
I mean, it would be really cool if a full booster, if like Booster 12 was there. But I guess the stairway up to it wouldn't necessarily make as much sense.
I want the porthole so that you could get the feel for those poor folks who had to install these secondary tanks.
Wait, okay, hold on. What if they built like something to actually hold it, you know what I mean? So that they're not putting it here on the transport stand, they're actually going to have to like lift it onto something to hold it so that you could walk underneath it and see the engines, you know what I mean?
That'd be cool.
Like basically a launch mount ring type holder, but
I could see that.
The top of the booster transport stand built into this structure, but this does look kind of flimsy for that.
Reinforced concrete. It's probably deceptively thick. Do any of those embed plates look? No, they don't. Well, there's those two column. There's that pad, right So yeah, I think you're onto something there.
Okay, but at the same time, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, it'd be really cool to play soccer, what was this, field hockey in front of that.
Yeah.
But if every time you walk out of your house, you just got like a huge booster in front of you, like that would be so annoying. I'm not gonna lie. It'd be cool for like the first week, and after that, you're just like. And with it's kind of a hazard in some ways. You know what I mean? You get a high enough wind out there, you start freaking out. Like, okay, checking the wind speed, hoping this thing is not at risk of falling over onto my house.
Well, company housing and all. Sorry. We're going to have to move the field hockey with these houses so that we have a clear area for the booster to fall into.
Can you imagine the shadow on this field too?
Or the glare.
Annoying.
Yeah, it'd be so annoying. Like, okay, all right. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and move over to the launch site, y'all. Unless we have any questions or donations that we need to touch on.
We got lots of donations. We first want to thank Rich R for his $100 donation. And he says, O2 Philip, thanks for the pics. Thank you, Rich R. We also want to thank Martin for another 10-pound donation. Andy donated 5 pounds and says for tissues because O2 nasal cannulae make your noses run. And $5 donation from Perpetual Nerd who says for a thimble full of gas. Thank you all so much for your generosity. And then we have questions, but they are more generic questions. So I don't know if you want to do it now or if you want to do it towards the end.
We can save them.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move over to the launch site then. Yeah, we'll start at the ASU. Alex?
Mm. Have most of the plumbing in. So let's see.
Still missing a few.
Now that's just heaters, and those are vent stacks. Yeah.
These four.
Yeah, the 2 back ones are for when they're reverse flow into the TSA, temperature swing absorption columns. When they run hot gas through them, alternating to dry out, because essentially those will absorb CO2, water, and some hydrocarbons, but primarily for drying the stream before they absorbing CO2 before they send it into the cold box. So yeah, that's the main air into the main cryogenic heat exchanger. So,
and they're still missing. Is there only one line that's supposed to pass through here?
There's a second one. That one is a secondary. That's for the booster pump. But the primary coming from the compressor hull hasn't been hooked up. Right at the corner of by the beer keg, you can see there's a white pipe that has a flange right straight down right this there. One? Yeah, that's where the main air should come in, and we got nothing yet.
And that's the supply from here is underground, right?
I think it's above ground because there should be one more cooling stage that goes through. It should go through basically they spray it through cold water to get any water soluble stuff out and to cool it down to near freeze, at least to close to freezing, because it chills the water down pretty well before they send it into the columns.
Then the roof is going over this, making some good progress. What is this? Just the entryway?
I'm not sure what they're putting there because nothing really makes sense. Because right to the right of it is a pad for the mechanical air filters. There's one in front of either main compressor. And yeah, the main thing they've done is they started working on the pad for the heat exchangers, which they're not going with the types that they had in 37th ASU plans. It's looking much more probably going to be like the ones they have at Gigafactory, just like 2 or 4 very large cooling towers rather than a fleet of small ones.
Like maybe 6.
Yeah, could see 6 being there. Yeah, this whole that whole section is nothing like I had thought it was going to be originally. And yeah, very
It's crazy how
strange.
much slower they're moving on this than the Lind one in Brownsville.
The Lind one was like the proper everything on skid, just connect everything together, weld everything, and power it up. This one, it has elements. The parts that seemingly are almost done were all sort of the pre-assembled stuff, and the bespoke stuff for the site is what's slowing it down a lot.
And I think the Lint one also had a good month or two start at least. So
Yeah, but that one's making liquid.
It has been for like a month and a half now. Almost 2 months. Yeah.
And this one, I'd be shocked if it's making liquid at the end of the year. Well, probably, but yeah.
I feel like the only way that's possible is if they steal power from Pad 1.
And it looks like they are, because they fenced off, and it looks like they're tapping.
This.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's like, you're not going to need this power for a little while. But
yeah, we'll just take it.
Yeah.
I was had to like go back through this. I was going to do it just to figure out where the lines are again. But then I was like, I don't have time for that, so I just didn't. Because I wasn't sure if they actually come in from. Sorry, I'm trying to find this a better view from the right here. So I wasn't sure if they actually came through the front down here or if they were legit across the street.
They're across the street, and they cut across right there.
Yeah, they're right under here.
And they come a diagonal right where all that junk is. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess that's convenient. Since it's there, you might as well use it. Because they're probably going to run the new lines that they run here can probably go to those same boxes anyways, right? So
yeah. And who knows, they might do something very, like one of them could have been previously their backup lines, and they'll just energize both of them and have one site that they can just say, nah, we're killing power to it. That'd make a lot of sense if they put a huge bank of the gigapack somewhere for doing that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see them at the launch site at some point. What is this?
I think those look like lifting. Or are they making a space frame where because there's too many for load spreaders, aren't they?
Well, the bigger one looks like a load spreader. You can see 2 shackles on it.
It could be a truss.
Yeah.
For load spreader.
See, I originally thought maybe it's going to be for taking the Pad 1 QD arm off the tower, but then I thought, no, there's too many bars there for that, surely.
Yeah, it looks like just from all the shackles and everything else, it's going to be some sort of box girder of some kind.
Yeah, I could see that being the case.
But for what, I don't know.
Keep our eyes out for that.
I suppose the other bit of wild guess could be for the service structure framework when they finish that. Although that's probably still a little while off being ready because they haven't got a foundation for that yet.
Though they might incorporate it in the lifting points into the frame as they're assembling it.
Yeah.
I guess
They
we'll
thought-
have to go look at that right now so we can know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
The service structure down here. So this is basically the fluids bunker for the launch mount. They're essentially building it on what I'm getting out of this is that they're just not wanting to wait for the foundation to be finished. So they're building it over here.
This screams of like oil platform work where they build everything in huge boxes and just lift them in place, or sub-assemblies and lift it in place.
But surely they're not going to fully outfit it while it's here, right?
Depends what sort of structural engineers you hired to design it. I hope not. I hope they just build the frame and they save 3 months of the assembly time.
Actually, that is a great spot to build it at because we'd be able to see more. So
Okay, thanks, Zach. Now we're not going to get that.
Yeah, now they're going to set up a scaffold tarp structure around it.
So build the whole thing and then lift it into place afterward.
Yes.
See, that makes it seem like they're in a rush at the launch site, but at the Sanchez site with the actual launch mount itself, it seems like the opposite situation.
I mean, it could be they did a running change to the lower level and that just screwed up the entire schedule.
Yeah, I'm surprised it hasn't arrived yet. And what else have they got down in this area now that they're using it as their construction zone? We have all of the stuff for the adding the roof onto this tower, but I don't know if we're expecting that to happen anytime soon, or if they're probably going to be removing the QD arm.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be more of a last minute thing, putting the roof on that tower, I think.
There's also, it looks like on that trapezoidal shape that they brought the vacuum jacketed pipes and stuff. So I'm assuming they're going to start working on the pipe work for the propellant lines for inside the tower.
Yeah, I was just about to say there's some concrete trench pieces down there.
Yeah. This looks like where the pipe fitters are moving. Yeah.
Wait, have they stripped? I forget. Did they strip everything out of this tower? They did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. These are tiny. What is that for?
I'm assuming the ASU crossing Highway 4.
I mean, I guess they're about to gain just a massive amount of storage out here that they may not even need Sanchez anymore.
Right in the shadow of...
Like, they might as well build the flame deflectors here too, right? Is there enough space for that?
Probably, but how close?
For
I wonder what
larger
winds are coming when they launch. Maybe that's why they had the basket lift sitting out here during the last static fire. No, that's right in the shadow of the plume from pad.
Yeah, good point.
I mean, I
Actually,
love watching the shipping containers go getting yeeted across the ground. So, please,
it's been a while since I think the last one was over here when that happened.
yeah.
Or
I
over here,
mean,
something like that.
was there how quickly people come and go? People might have forgot about that superpower.
I mean, there's going to be obviously a lot of space they can use here to work on infrastructure for Pad 1, but that's just going to be more stuff they've got to secure each launch. So I don't know if they'd move a lot of the Sanchez stuff here, to be honest.
Okay, quick question: have they still not? Is this demolished?
Partially.
Yeah, they started doing it the other day.
Okay.
Yeah, I was
The rest of
laughing.
it's not under here, is it?
That's the part they actually got out because I was laughing the other day
Okay.
because in one of the big spoil piles they had the vent line.
Okay. It took forever to get rid of that.
Yeah, I still don't know if they've removed the last of the big deluge pipes. I'm assuming they did, but I never.
Oh yeah,
Ones that
where?
are right here.
Yeah,
Yeah, where have they been putting those new piles in, or what they for?
they're for the propellant trench.
Which okay.
Yeah, you can see. They're running
You're talking about this
parallel.
side?
No, right where the drill rig is. Just straight down. Yeah, straight down. Yeah, they're starting drilling them right there.
So I guess they're going to come around from that side of the flame trench then.
Yeah, those they just did double wall with the sheet piles to make their coffer dam. If you zoom into the section right there, you can see the tie rods further up. No, exactly where you were. See the steel plates behind the sheet piles, and further.
These?
Yeah, and then if you follow them, some of them you'll see a steel rod heading perpendicular to right up to the top. They're very visible. But yeah, and they go straight across to the sheet pile wall just to the right. Other direction.
Here.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're just joining these two walls together to essentially self-support each other. All because it seemingly they
Why
don't
is
want
it
to do.
going in multiple directions though? What is this?
It's the same thing.
This doesn't make sense.
I think it's because of the work area for the foundation for the triangle section of the building is why it went wide like that. But those two are also tied together. They started the previous week. That area was fairly deep down excavated. It was at least as deep as the trench side, and you can see them now. They're bringing back fill and filling it in.
Are they doing a similar thing on the other side of the flame trench then? In front of the tower? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's so are these?
Those are
These are
sounds of OG ones. Yeah.
Okay, I was about to say because surely the new ones wouldn't be this high.
They are, but you just knock the concrete off. They wouldn't have rebar in them. At least this high up, there wouldn't be
because
rebar.
there's a big one right here, right? Like one of the old big ones, I think maybe. Right here.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a handful of them.
Very interesting. And they still haven't started anything on the base of the tower other than adding that little pad down there. But we can see the studs sticking out for the wing that they're going to add on here.
I wonder if they're going to extend that wall all the way around the base.
That's what I've been thinking for a while now. I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to wrap steel all the way around the tower base.
What do you mean?
Like single panels. So on the wing there, I think the outside panel of the speed core, I think, is going to go all the way around the tower base to the other side.
Yeah, like you can see all the. You're talking about these.
Yeah, but I mean, if you go down to the bottom, on the corner there, so those bolts there, I think there's going to be the steel coming off that part is going to carry on going around the front of the tower base.
Where the air compressors are.
Yeah.
Because, if you follow extend those bolts, those panels look like they're going to be sticking out proud of the tower existing corner.
You're thinking through across the front this way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that another set on the inside corner there on the very far left? Go up to the tower itself. No, to the right there.
It does look like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
So they're gonna encase the whole thing.
Yeah, pretty much, I think.
That concrete's seen a lot.
Yeah, I mean, might as well, give it a break. I wonder if they're going to pull the steel panels off of this too.
I don't know if they really need to, do they?
This whole remodel is almost more interesting than the original in some ways. It's like, how are we going to make this work?
There's somebody constantly. They just started it from scratch.
I guess moving us back over to the tank farm area, they did. We kind of skirted by this, but they did remove all of the small tanks that were down here. Finally, and those are now, I think, at the port. Which, did we have images of that already or no? I don't think we have those yet. But yeah, these are gone, and the 2 ribbed tanks are now moved over with this group of 4 methane tanks. So now they have 6 methane tanks in total, which still to me feels like a crazy amount. Like, I don't get.
And I gotta love
why they have this.
And I gotta love how the first move rib tag at the ends of it aren't in line with the other tanks. It sits slightly further back.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, look at the top end as well.
Oh, wow. I still feel like these are going to go away now that these are here.
I kind of think all of them will go away.
Like, maybe these 2 are about to get moved to Massey's.
I mean, I guess unless they've got something they plan.
The little shorter base. This.
That would be funny.
Not really, but it would explain. It would explain why this huge block is here.
I was gonna say, Alex, you got a funny definition of funny there.
I mean, it looks like a temporary landing spot for those until whatever they're waiting for over here comes in. Which, honestly, it's kind of funny because they're like, they've modular, like it's so modular now that they're willing to play musical tanks, like disconnect it in probably 2 days.
Yeah.
Lift the tank out and just, yeah.
Close the valves. Just close it out. Move it.
So these are still waiting for 3 more tanks, right?
Yeah. Well, we know two of the 3.
Oh, okay. So these are for the 2 ribbed tanks.
Oh god. Please break that. Last
So,
large tank.
any ideas what's going to happen in this area?
I thought that's where their switchover valves would be to go to the other pad one's tank farm. I mean pump farm. Last week I was entertaining the thought that
You mean
they could,
like this?
yes. Yeah, because I'm of the opinion, starting to come around that maybe they will just share the same subcooling and pump infrastructure for both pads.
I don't know how you get this from way over there. You have to go all the way in front.
Now you just put a T and you run the lines
Here?
Yeah, and then you set up a similar assembly like that, but that won't be for pad ones. Because that's essentially from that point to the right or to the left is isolation, the start of isolation. Yeah, from there to the right.
You're suggesting swapping all of these out with T's?
Yes, and putting a valve.
That'd be wild.
Because essentially everything to the right is isolation and purging at the start of ISO and purging. Huh.
So they have some new stuff going on in the front here, Alex.
Without seeing more, my running assumption is because for the last few weeks, people saw some very large diameter pipes being lowered in over that wall. Those very much look like the nitrogen vent stacks that they have on the reclamation system under the new nitrogen or methane tanks, like the.
You're talking about under this?
Yeah, that right there, the silk pipe sticking out, and then, yeah, what was being lowered looked like around that diameter, and then the vent stack is like the one between those two tanks. And then they're doing the same thing with these additional 4. And at the top, you can see its vent stack right there. Yeah. So without seeing into there, I'm speculating that they're doing another one of those linear reclamation systems running along that wall. Because what was a lot of people were pointing out during those the original Booster 19 tests that there seemed to be quite a lot of methane dumps, drop-offs for just their tank tests. It seemed like an excessive amount of boil off that perhaps they didn't have enough installed reclamation capacity.
Dumping from where? Are you talking about here?
That should be a nitrogen vent. I have not found where the liquid nitrogen enters into it.
Me neither. I was looking for it, but
that's the shot that they built this blast wall well before, just right when they were installing those valve assemblies.
Yeah.
For a while, I was entertained the thought that those are almost like condensing columns, and they're doing a direct liquid nitrogen injection, nitrogen rejection unit, where they would just spray in liquid nitrogen and condense out the liquefy the methane that way in a distillation column, and that's just what waste methane gas or nitrogen coming out. But that seems crazy. It's good
so hold on, but you think they were actually venting methane during the
tankers worth of methane was disappearing during those tank tests.
True.
A lot more than 7 tons.
Yeah, I always think about that, like, why? But I mean, they did the spin prime test, and I mean, surely all that didn't come from just the spin prime itself. So yeah, I mean they how many tankers did you say?
I just
I don't know if we kept track, if anybody kept track of them, but yeah, there was a bunch of.
yeah.
So yeah, we have these connected to this line down here, this big manifold
Yeah.
that goes all the way across. So you're thinking
It's the same linear reclamation system. Probably they're using a nitrogen bath, sort of like the vaporizers, just to liquefy it. They're going to have
so it's
liquid
just like
nitrogen.
a pipe within a pipe, basically.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, they probably have a few loops, but yeah, essentially just a pipe and a pipe. It's a big heat exchanger.
So we'll probably see this during detanking.
Yeah, those should and chill down. It'll be interesting to see if those.
Shouldn't this be able to handle chill down?
I think so, but it might also be with the speed they're trying to
Detank?
Yeah.
They're just doing it way too fast. They're like, whoa.
Yeah. These surge tanks can't keep up with the surge.
That's pretty funny. I mean, because they're huge pipes, and to like load in 30 minutes is one thing, but detanking that same rate is, yeah.
Yeah.
And these things are going all along the wall. So, and can we see where the end of this?
If I had to hazard a guess, I think it comes off just as a cap, just like the other ones.
I don't think we got that angle right now.
No.
I do like finding new tank farm stuff before we actually see it, because I don't. the one on the front side of the the front side of the wall surprised me. I didn't see that one before it happened. So
that one's weird because that looks like it's coming off. That's the engine chill, coming off the engine chill / oxygen bleed that they're bringing back from the BQD. The one that they were.
It just doesn't make sense though. Why does it not go to the vent?
It used to. But
So
yeah,
maybe the vent's not keeping up.
Yeah, this has all the vibes of something very temporary. I hope.
Temporary as temporary gets in Starbase.
Right. We'll fix it with pad ones.
No, it'll become with knowing SpaceX, it'll become the permanent temporary fix until they decide to redo pad 2 for the new design.
Josh, you're making far too much sense again.
Alex, you know what I just realized? Like, they probably can't do the WDR until this is ready, because like doing the ship and the booster at the same time, they're like, yeah, we're not going to be able to detank that without this.
Well, a good thing is that they had some infrastructure fail last night, so that'll give them some time to maybe insulate some pipes.
We have time. I guess we'll move on to that right now. So yeah, those of you who have followed this situation on X,
Patreon lounge of that pipe behind the wall there.
Ooh, cool.
I'm not sure which image that angle is from, but yeah. Oh, he says it right there in the message.
Give me a second. Oh wow.
Yeah, that looks just like the pipes. The reclamation system they're using.
But so is it just a coil that comes all the way through and back? Because where's the outlet?
I think the outlet would probably be on the other side of this assembly, or they might have T's coming out of it.
So this
It
just vents
might,
the bath on the
yeah,
inside, like the.
yeah, and the actual gas, the methane gas, is probably a front to back pipe. It probably just does a hairpin and goes the other way. The
Doesn't
reverse.
don't I thought methane reclamation stuff, like I thought like if you're using liquid nitrogen with methane like this, it has to be pressurized.
You can pressurize it, or you can keep your flow rate. Since they're doing a phase change, since a lot of this would probably be the gas reclamation, you're doing a phase change, so
Oh,
that uses a
okay.
lot of energy. And if you're
Interesting.
also the other way, you can sub-chill the nitrogen, and then basically you inject that into the top of the tank, into the spray bars, and then that'll condense out the gas in the tanks too.
So did they really realize this after like the first booster test and then already implement a solution this fast?
I think they had the solution, but because these big pipes have been showing up for a couple months now.
So it's just late.
Define late.
Like they already
Everything seems,
knew it was a problem type thing.
yeah, everything so far, nothing looks like they're behind if you assume they didn't have a firm launch date, if that makes any sense. The only
Right.
thing now is some of the test hardware that they're finally getting around to doing at Massey's. But the way the pad has just pad 2 is basically finishing a lot of this methane work. Everything just sort of feels like June 1st or May 1st was their original target date.
Yeah, that's why I've always had a hard time believing any of the dates that were put out there until the actual official thing that came out a few days ago.
Yeah,
But that is probably going to change.
Definitely. And probably the only thing that the rush to get 19 done was for some structural validations that they had to have at the time. I don't think that was a launch specific. I think that was just sort of like they had to get the last 2 flights for Block 2 done as soon as possible, so they had their data to start incorporating all that into the final V3 designs.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So I will show us this video. This was posted by Starbase Tracking with NSF. So
spectacular.
So what we have here was a deluge test that happened last night. And they basically tested all 3 systems at the same time. I'm going to attempt to change Alex's mind about what happened here right now. So we can actually see like down at the bottom corner over here, right above my fingertip. So I do partially start to agree with what Alex is thinking here, is that there was an external explosion, which I think there's an internal and external explosion, because we kind of see like a little gas cloud build down there. And then it explodes. So then as it goes forward, it like takes the roof off. And then we see it now. So remember that right here is where the top of this thing is, pretty much. So now I'm going to keep my finger there while it's playing. And then boom, you can see it start venting from right there. And then this right here is the real vent. So this is venting through the top. And this is the real vent. So let's look at the actual images of this area now, because it's...
And we found one of those
good.
pieces.
We got lucky.
Yeah.
Did I not even have this thing open? Hold on.
Credit to Event Dudes again.
For what?
There's a picture of the grading. It's somewhere around. I
Oh
saw it
yeah,
earlier.
yeah, it's by the other tanks. Yeah. So yeah, the let's get it just a square on image of it. What? There was a really good close up one, and it's not. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So this is basically the area where those gas generators are located. So there's one right here, then one in the middle. So basically, the top is gone, and I guess there are two different thought processes of what happened here. Alex kind of thinks that there's a chance that the methane lines, or basically the fuel lines to this blew.
Everything feeding into that is at whatever their combustion pressure is. So probably 50 bar, maybe.
Yeah. So I mean, there's basically two options of what happened here. It's, external plumbing blew up on this, or it blew up from the inside. I personally think that it was on the inside. I think maybe there's like a seal at the top of this, and that seal was leaking, which is why we saw the gas coming out of the side of it. But yeah, it ended up, whatever happened down here ended up blowing the roof off of this. So I will say that in order for my theory on this to be correct, like a top down. This doesn't quite show it that well. It's not okay. So what I'm saying is, in order for my theory to be correct, it would have had to shoot through this gap up at an angle, because even though we're kind of looking at it at an angle here, it doesn't quite overlap it this much. I think it only overlaps the edge right here, but I still think if it went straight up, it would have clipped this beam. Is this showing it?
I think the edge of that panel that we found, I might be able to tell a bit of a story as well. Maybe.
Yeah. So let's look at that really quick. The panel
right there.
Boy. Yeah. Down here. I mean, to me, that looks like the dome hit it right there.
But then again, Pipewood could probably do that as well, about flung straight up at all.
This is true. Over here, we have some potentially all of the lines for the igniters. I think this might be all of that, but I'm not sure because it's really quite mangled.
Yeah.
But I think that came from there. But yeah, they have a new one sitting out here.
But I think was for the apex, because next to it looks like this control assemblies just to the top of the missing one, of the new one.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, that looks like it was for the framework that they're building for all its control circuitry.
Ooh. Like as in another one is about to show up?
No, this was already staged here to go for the ridge or the apex, whatever you want to call it.
That's a possibility. I think these also could be sensor boxes for control panels for sensors that they're about to install elsewhere. But yeah, this is not the greatest situation. We'll say that.
Now, to where the venting is, this is perfect. The vent closest to us of the 4-vent array, that's the that one gets slammed shut when they start pressurizing the system. The one next to it is the throttle, and the two end ones are the dumps. So seeing two different venting areas, they could have blasted open that one could have opened, and so you would have the two distinct vent patterns as well. Playing devil's advocate is why we have two distinct vent plumes coming from this area. And it's
two things. First, are you guessing on the purpose of these? Because We last time I talked to you about this, we didn't have that figured out yet.
If we go to what they did for the ridge, it's pretty clear now. The way they plumbed it up.
Okay, we'll talk about that later, I
Yeah.
guess. So, well, hold on. Let's just look back at this though, because
Yeah,
I think
I'm just
those
playing
are
up.
way too far apart.
Yeah,
These are way too far apart to be.
Do they have this before they started powering up the system? Because that would have when the charge venting.
Say that again.
Unfortunately, you know the pre-charge venting before they slam the valves closed to start pressurizing the system. I don't think because that would have given if we would have.
Yeah.
It's venting like crazy out of that location. I will definitely agree with you there. After whatever let go, it could be the top where the gas went into the mixing chamber, but for that whole top unit to shatter or explode, I would expect there to have been a lot more shrapnel-y damage because that's a great.
One way or another, it's a problem. So,
well, I don't understand why. SpaceX blows up stuff all the time at McGregor.
This is true, and I actually do personally think that this also happened at McGregor, but save that for another day. What the problem is that there's 3 separate individual systems, and through the 10 engine static fire, the 33 engine, and what happened yesterday, that is 3 completely different problems. So the problem with that is that each of these systems have their own independent operating characteristics. So like if you solve a problem for one of them, you also have to solve it for the other 3, and it may or may not work the exact same. They might require their own unique solutions, like, you know what I mean? So whatever caused this to happen here could happen here under completely different conditions. You know what I mean? So really there's 9 failure modes that have to be solved for right now, in my opinion. And the thing about that is that, you know, this is something I keep seeing on X more than anything, is people expecting Booster 19 to just like come back out and do a wet dress rehearsal, and then they start launching just because they mentioned that date on the 12th. And you know what? That is definitely possible, but is it a good idea? Probably not. And like with losing 10 engines, I think they repaired them, but they lost 10 engines during the 10 engine test because of this system failing. So like if that what happened yesterday happened during flight, this is actually the worst of the 3 systems for that to happen on, because you know, if it happens on this one or this one, then you can shut down or abort, and in that process you may total 33 Raptors. This one, if it happens, it's probably after liftoff, which means this system would have just lost its power and basically turned the launch mount into the version 1 launch mount. Just the flat steel plate on top with not enough pressure to overcome what the booster's exhaust plume is exerting on the surface.
Well,
so
it's worse.
That would have been a problem.
It's worse because unlike Pad 1, you just can't bolt on another set of burn plates.
Exactly. So it's a problem. And a big one. Like that this is like the single most important component in the entire orbital tank farm, because this is what protects the pad and enables them to achieve rapid reusability. Like without these, it's just not possible. Without these, you need a water tower that is taller than the integration tower.
It might even be taller
These
than that.
literally, it literally could be 40 feet. It may need to be like 40 to 50 feet taller than the integration tower. That's what this is. That's what these little tiny things are preventing them from having to do.
Yeah, because I'm of the opinion these smaller tanks are running at a markedly higher pressure than the ramp tanks.
They are, for
Yeah.
sure.
So
you have
designing
3
out-
of these going into these tanks versus 2 going into these. So yeah, you've got far more pressure going into these.
well, it's volume because the top
Volume,
deck
yeah.
moves more.
Sorry.
But the actual pressure, the ramp, the large tanks and Massey's are running at a lower pressure just for the sheer, the Raptor exhaust is hitting the plume, is hitting at an angle, and you're doing a projection, so the surface area it's hitting is larger, so it's a lower peak ground loading. So you don't need as much water pressure to resist that. Meanwhile, the ridge and the top deck will take the full 90 degree, just like the Pancake did under Pad 1. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that we shouldn't expect anything less than 2 more static fire tests. Like, even if, first of all, even if this wasn't a problem, in my opinion, everything, and I think I've said this last time I was on the show too, but whether they're going to catch the booster or not, everything related to catching the booster should be tested, or else you come in and you do a simulated landing attempt in the middle of the ocean, and if it goes wrong, it went wrong because you decided not to perform a static fire test with the landing tank. So at minimum, they need to do a static fire test with the landing tank, and then on top of that, a full 33 engine test to make sure that not only it makes it for that full 10-second duration, but also that this system survives that. And in reality, I mean, this system might be better off if they were able to do a 20 to 30 second test. Would probably be ideal for getting them a lot more data on this to make sure that it can do that it can handle long duration stuff. They may actually find things that they're missing by doing short tests, essentially. But that is part of the problem, is that when you can implement a fix, which they have done stuff. I mean, I'm not going to go into like the purpose of all of it, but like we can see they've added these new pipes onto here, and they've also done that on this tank as well. So like you can do these changes and you can perform the deluge tests on their own, but the environment completely changes once you have 10 engines, when you have 33 engines, and when you have 33 engines and you throttle up. And one of the things that they're not going to be able to find out until launch day is what happens when they go from whatever thrust they're at now, which is probably somewhere between 50 and 70%, all the way up to whatever their liftoff thrust is. That is an environment that they're literally not able to test for. This one, the water-cooled deck, they're not able to test for that like at all. So luckily, I would say with
that one's a known problem, though.
I was going to say it is because they've done that before on Pad 1, but not really, because at the same time, it was just a different pressurization system. So it's still a different environment. You know what I mean?
They should have, they could have data traces that would, which they probably did, that they designed this around what they expected pressure excursions and transients that they would. But I mean, the whole system would behave a lot different because that was a plate solidly anchored into the ground. So this is hung from that frame. So it has some degrees of movement. So yeah, vibrations would definitely be a lot different in the system than the previous one. And that one, they were just using brute force. So the age-old solution to any problem, swing a larger hammer.
in some ways this is brute force as well, but yeah, I mean it's definitely something that they have to make sure they get right. Like anything else, if the Apex system failed during liftoff, that would be like catastrophic. Not catastrophic necessarily. It depends when it happens. It depends when it happens, how long that throttled up plume is acting on it without water being pushed out. That's the question. That determines how the level of damage. But
we've seen
not something to play with.
We've seen it even with the existing system shooting out globs of molten iron previously. So sorry, I just love the iron volcano when it's shooting out chunks of.
Yeah, I mean, they just the point is they got to get it right. And in order to at least have a somewhat level of confidence, like for example, when they flew the first time with Pad 1 and they had the Fondag, they did, they did a 31 engine test on top of that, right? And that 31 engine test made them think this thing is going to survive.
It did survive.
Then they launched on it and it didn't survive.
Mount survived.
But at least they were able to come back and say, we did a 31 engine test, and based on what we saw during that test, we thought that it was going to survive. But in this situation, if they just went dress rehearsal and launched and it failed, they can't say that. You know what I mean? So they have to test it. They have to verify it. And whether that takes 1, 2, or 5 static fire tests in order to figure out that it's working properly, then that's what I kind of expect to see.
I think Pad 1's failure modes were, will the OLM's foundation survive worst case scenario? Since they had everything lined, or do we dig everything out, install the new deluge before we do the first flight? This one, the calculus is you can't melt the pad.
Yeah. One thing that I do want to say, and again, I'm not going to get deep into the purpose of it, but they do monitor the temperature, the pressure in these tanks. So they monitor pressure at the top of this tank and at the bottom. So they monitor one group.
Yeah, for the level, how full the tanks are.
So, but what I think they should be doing, and usually I don't like offer advice on these types of things because we're all armchair engineers out here to some degree. So I just think that they should be monitoring all of them because it's like, why would you not? Why would you trust one tank to tell you what's happening with all three instead of monitoring all of them? Like that's.
I think that differential is just for how full the tanks are when they're filling it. I don't think they're doing that. I don't know if they're integrating that information in their when it's firing, because that would be horribly unstable with the amount of gas going in, the amount of volume the water is leaving the tank. That'd be very noisy data. And now you're having to deal with filtering noisy data to make and processing it, massaging it to extract the signal from it, which is less than fun.
Well, despite that, I think measuring, being able to actually determine what's happening in each tank is something that is like valuable to do, because sometimes there's things happening in one tank that's not happening in another, and you think the same thing is happening in all of them, but it's not. So the more data you have, the better. So if anybody happens to watch the show and be like, oh yeah, actually, why are we only doing one tank? I just want them to be successful in all this stuff, and I want this launch to go good. I think that they're doing like a large list of very scary things at the same time. like everything they're doing with the version 3 booster is terrifying. You know, igniting 33 engines at once is crazy.
At the same time, I mean,
It's it's okay. I think it's the equivalent to lighting 6 SRBs at one time. Mind you, the ignition overpressure characteristics of SRBs are different than Methalox engines, but as far as overall power, that's what they're doing, which is yeah, a lot of scary stuff happening. And I feel like they're going to have a big weight off their shoulder after Flight 12 because there's so many things that can, it's literally Flight 1 territory all over again. There's so many things that can go wrong that once it just clears the pad and gets away from everything, they're probably going to breathe just a massive sigh of relief because it's scary, honestly.
well, the unknowns, it's even worse. Just
Yeah.
the ways it wants to kill you that you didn't suspect it was trying to kill you with. Like, was it as simple?
Can you imagine? Like, but can you imagine lighting 6 SRBs at 39A? Like, that would, even with that deluge system, it would destroy it. Like, it would destroy it.
They would
So much power, it's insane.
Well, and then it's after you dealt with that, now you have to deal with this absurd amount of thermal and kinetic energy to dissipate.
Yeah.
It's just coming at you nonstop. So, but
let's make it happen. I really want to see it now.
Yeah. So I've already said more than I wanted to say. We'll go a lot deeper into the stuff in the episode I have coming out. Obviously, things keep happening that make it take a little bit longer, but you know, it is what it is. I actually knew this was going to happen, and I'm actually kind of glad that the way that things have, not glad, but it's interesting the way certain things have played out, especially just through the whole process of like trying to figure all this stuff out. Certain questions that I've had along the way, like, oh, well, what if this happens? And then now I feel like some of those questions actually turn into actual events that happened that I had questions about, if that makes sense. So I don't know. In my opinion, I think this is like either the greatest asset that they have that enables them to like do something that's just really crazy and actually be able to have the most powerful vehicle in the world and a reusable launch pad, which is like two crazy things. It's either the greatest asset in order to enable them to do that, or it can be one of the biggest liabilities. So, but I don't know. If anybody can fix it, it's probably them. I don't think there's like catastrophic issues. I just think there is a problem and they like are going to have to do what they need to do to actually solve it instead of trying to meet a launch date. So, I guess we'll move on to some other things. I know there's probably questions in the chat. I guess we can take them now. We might as well. I was just going to show the top of the tower. And I guess since there's not a whole ton to talk about there, you can just go through that and then questions. But yeah, they have gotten the railing up around the tower. You guys think they're going to put lights on top of these?
The other tie-off points for when you're going over the sides.
Wonder why it's got just one little dip in over there.
I was just about to ask about that. Why is there only one there?
This?
Yep.
Yeah.
What is it?
I don't know. That's what I was just saying. I wonder what it is.
They didn't want to weld over all of those bolts, probably.
Nice.
I mean,
Is there not bolts on the other side though?
Nope, that one's a continuous.
No.
Oh, okay.
But engineer wanted a bolt plate from joint there for some reason, and so they obliged.
I suppose it's a nice.
I feel like you gotta have lights up here though.
Oh, they love their rope lights, so
yeah. I mean,
I
figure it's like a observation deck for They have VIPs and stuff like that.
Just trip hazards all over the place. But yeah.
Yeah. So we don't know if they're going to get these cameras installed in here before the launch or not. But I did see Cooper, what's his last name?
Cooperheim.
Hi.
Yeah, he posted on X that they're going to have lots of cool views for this launch. So I don't know, maybe they don't need these ones for this launch, and we'll see new cameras installed up here later. But I trust what he just said, because honestly, I think that the craziest view that we're ever going to have of any launch ever is this camera that they showed from that static fire.
Yeah.
Because that was, yeah. Where is it right here?
There's one on the side then, and there's one that used to be at the front.
This one used to.
Yeah.
There's a multitude along there. I want engineering camera looking up from the ridge perspective.
But I mean, we've seen something close to that. You know what I mean? This view right here without plume interruption is amazing.
Or I want the top down from the tower, seeing the plume.
Hold on. I just realized when the top deck goes, that view is going to kind of suck, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, at least ignition will be cool. Something tells me that this is going to go shortly after ignition, if not at the same time.
As I say, we've already seen that. Yeah, they can have that active whilst the booster's still sitting there on the launch mount.
Yeah. I love how no matter what time of day they do that deluge test, like it's just completely dry down there by the time Mauricio gets up, within 12 hours of it happening. And I guess they already got a convoy of trucks, like they are preparing to get back to testing, but we will see how quickly that happens.
I mean,
it's seen down in the flame trench just reminding me of something. I'm just curious what you guys think of it. Why do we think there was some pumps replaced recently?
It's very dirty. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just dirty.
Okay.
And the vibrations, they may or may not. That end looks different. Maybe it's just a lighting, but the end of those pipes outlets look different.
Yeah, let's talk about that later. So I just had an idea that just occurred to me, and anyways, so
I didn't see anything.
Sure, we have some
down there.
questions from the chat.
We do. We have lots of questions, lots of donations. We'll start off with donations and gifted memberships. We want to thank Martin for his 5 gifted memberships and his £8 donation. We want to thank Stan J for their 5 gifted memberships. We want to thank YouTube for allowing Mauricio to donate 10 gifted memberships. So congratulations to all the recipients. We also want to thank 55 Chevy Guy for his $20 donation, and he said thanks for the commentary. We want to thank Felix for his $20 donation, and he says, as always, a great show. My weekend isn't complete without it. And also Nodi, who's supposed to be asleep, who donated $5 Australian and says, thanks for the great analysis and keeping me up all night. That poor fellow's been like Steph, up all night with us doing the shows. And then we'll start off with the questions. We'll start off with the questions that had to do with all the conversation you guys just finished having. There was a question from Drew Nar. He's saying, the gas gen head hit the panel, then the manifold pressure sent it flying. Correct?
We don't really know. It might have been that hitting the panel, or it might have been pipe work hitting the panel.
Something hit the panel and was not a happy outcome.
Heinrich wants to know, could this be what aborted both static fires, but this time it fully failed?
No, all three issues are three separate situations.
Unique and special.
Craneman is wondering, why didn't this happen at one of the earlier topple plate deluge tests?
Because there's only been two. And sometimes you just have to, like, cyclical. Sometimes things require cyclical. What's the word I'm thinking of, Alex?
Periodic. It's also not like synergy, but the two systems play against each other as well.
Yeah.
And if it's a 1 in 10 failure mode or 1 in 100, the more times you run it, the more chances you're going to hit it. So it's a weird one. Hopefully it's just something dumb. Like, part of me for wanting it to be a pipe broke is a bad weld or a bad fix. Yeah, isn't a design issue. It's exactly. And they've had histories with flanges, and SpaceX don't really always see eye to eye.
Okay. Niall's wondering, how come none of the new methane tanks need retention ponds? I thought they were required by regulation, or did that change? And he's referring to the ponds around the tanks.
Yeah, that's weird, honestly. I was thinking about that the other day. And I don't know the answer to that. I feel like they need to be in containment, and they're not.
I keep looking what could be construed as a moat for containment. And ever since Massey's, because Massey's has never had a containment.
Oops. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird that it doesn't have containment for sure. I don't understand that. Maybe the regulations changed recently, or they're no longer subject to them or something. I don't know.
Craneman's wondering, do they need to physically separate the methane tanks from the LOX tanks, like with a wall?
No.
I mean, they're a quarter of a mile away from each other at this point. We can't even fit them in the same image, basically.
A quarter mile, though, in this context.
Python's wondering, how will they transport fluids from the ASU to the tank farm?
I think a pipe under the road. I think those culverts that we saw.
These ones, right?
Yeah, they're going to extend that.
Across the street.
Yeah.
Do we actually have an answer yet as to why that trench goes around towards the back of the tank farm like that, and not just
this one?
Yeah.
I think moving forward, they're going to, in the later iterations, are moving the pipeway from the front to the back.
Okay.
How much do you think the methane methane tankers hate this fill station?
I'm sure there's salty conversations every time they drop stuff off when they're waiting for the offload, talking to the drivers.
Because going from like being right here and having tons of space to like doing whatever maneuver they got to do to get back into there.
Yeah,
fun.
Just bad ideas.
Oh, any more questions, Indy?
Yeah, actually lots. And then we got more donations and a gifted membership. We want to thank Foss for the one gifted membership. Thank you, Foss. We want to thank Sharpie for his $5 donation. And he said, excellent presentation as always. Much kudos. We want to thank Martin for another £2 donation. And All for One for his $5 donation. He says, great show and fun chat. Thanks for putting this weekend together, RGV team, especially Aussie Space Girl, who is Stephanie in chat. And then the next question is, why do they not split the Why do they not split the tanks into 3 different assemblies to prevent losing everything all at once? Brian Aries is asking.
I don't know if we're talking about the deluge tanks right now. I'm not sure.
Or they're talking about nitrogen, methane, and oxygen, maybe.
Yeah, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
We can come back to that when Brian asks. Brian's a regular, so I'm sure he'll ask again. All for One is asking, could the truss work going up at Pad A indicate SpaceX are able to use some of the remaining below surface piles?
Yeah, I believe for a long time that they're just going to crop off the top of those piles. They have all the old engineering data and just recalc where in as long as they're hitting the same load requirements they're not that much deeper in this trench, the tops of them, than they were previously. It all depends on where their bearing surface is being calculated from for their surface friction.
Wrangler's wondering, where did they locate the comm antenna they used to have on top of Tower 1? There doesn't seem to be one on Tower 2.
That, I think, is going to be probably. I think you're going to switch over to using a standalone tower. I'm not sure where in Starbase. We've seen one planned for LC-39A and one for Slick 37 as well. I think that'll basically serve the purpose of what we see on Pad 1 tower. Because from our understanding, when they go to do ship catches of these towers, they're going to come basically straight over the tops of the towers. So I think anything like that on top of the tower is just going to get very badly damaged very quickly.
That tower never did well without a plume directly hitting it, so yeah.
Yeah.
Nicholas is wondering, why do SpaceX not just build a payload integration facilities hall?
Give them time.
Yeah, that'll probably happen eventually.
Keith Hill is wondering, if a water deluge gas generator red happens during the launch and flying debris impacts Starship, seems like that could be a big bada boom. Should they build a better containment for such reds?
I think they just need to make sure they don't happen. And I don't think it would hit the vehicle, but you never know. And even if it did, I don't think it'd be that big of a deal. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if containment's a good idea either, because if you contain something, then it just makes a secondary explosion.
So Crayman had a follow-up question of Frederick's question, and he's wondering, do they build the OLM sections at Hangar M, where the second launching like Pad A was built? And that Frederick's question was, do you know where they build all the heavy steel fabrication? Where all the heavy steel fabrication?
I mean, that's just where they were assembling that launch mount. That's not where they actually fabricated the physical superstructure itself. So I don't think they use that facility anymore. Well, they probably do, but not for building the launch mount itself, since they do that at Roberts Road.
Lev0824 asks what they did after the Baby Raptor Red and what they did to prevent 1033 engine static fire aborts. They also will Pad 2 tower have an antenna like Pad 1 had? Sorry for too many questions. I think you guys answered that pretty much when you were talking. What caused
Yeah.
stuff to abort? Okay. And then Brian Aries clarifies, why don't they split each deluge into 3 zones that are independently pressurized and supplied?
That is a question I am literally writing a paragraph about right now. So I will save my answer for later.
I was going to say, so the answer is stay tuned.
I mean, congestion. You go through your failure modes, what your availability factors are, and you determine if it's worst case scenario. If you lose something, what do you lose? And you partially engineering, mainly an economics question. How much redundancy do you need for availability? Do you need to build into a system? What's your failure threshold, your risk threshold? And that's more of a corporate C-suite than an engineering question.
Right on. And then we want to thank Martin for his last $2 donation. He was able, with that donation, we were able to hit our 20 donation goal. So thanks everybody who donated today. We really, really, truly appreciate it. Donations and gifted memberships are greatly appreciated. And the last question is from Saeed. Can you talk about the rumors that SpaceX is buying land in Louisiana for a launch site? Are the rumors credible?
There's similar legislation that's passing or in progress in Louisiana that was passed in Texas for launch sites. It's the same reason why Blue Origin has their operation in Texas, where launch related infrastructure, you don't have to go through the same public disclosures, so you can protect your trade secrets. It also absolves you from a whole host of liabilities for vehicle issues and events. The area you could make the argument that it's on a huge portion of land that I think it's rumored that I think is Exxon's. But as far as for launching, from a launch point of view, for doing polar orbits in sun synchronous, it'd be a great location. It's in the middle of nowhere, really, so you don't have as many people issues. The downside is it's in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of a swamp, where you're just, can we build a launch site that doesn't stare down hurricanes? There's some credibility. All the states want SpaceX is going to have a huge wad of money that they seem to have no problems lighting on fire and buying speculative things. So maybe.
And then our very... Oops, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I bet Katrina would have something to say about that.
Mm-hmm. You're talking about the hurricane?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
What?
Versus the person?
Katrina's a different Karen.
I was so confused when I heard that. Okay.
And then we just got our last donation of $19.99 from Brian Aries, who says, great show, everyone.
Thank you.
And that's it for your donations, questions, and for your gifted memberships. Thanks, everybody.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you, everybody, for your donations and all of the plethora of questions today. We definitely appreciate all of the engagement from the chat. Somebody's saying there's an echo.
I'm not hearing it. Although I'm only in Discord.
Okay. Maybe they tricked me. Okay. But yeah, appreciate everybody for being with us today, especially given that we weren't able to do it at the normal time, but glad we were able to actually fit the show in. So shout out to Mauricio for getting out there this morning and editing all the images quickly so that we would be able to show them today. And once again, if anybody was gifted a membership today, then you should have access to the gallery of flyover images, so you can go through them yourself if you want to look at anything more closely. And yeah, you can also do that before the next show, so you can review images and come with questions if you have them, or join us in the show and tell. And I think we have another show on Tuesday still, so those of you who want to go deeper into, because we actually I didn't get to download all of the images. We only basically got the main sites that we go through. So Mauricio's still going to be uploading more images, and those will be gone through on Tuesday. So if you guys want to join, haven't seen this Tuesday show, make sure to check that out. And yeah, for now, I will see everybody on the next show. Hopefully, maybe might be recording next week, but we'll see. So thanks to Alex and Josh for being here, and Jake, and Indy for handling questions and donations, obviously, and Matt for running the stream. And with that, I will pass it off to whoever takes it next.
Thank you all. It was fun. Talk to you next time.
Yeah, it's been a very fun show, and yeah, I always look forward to doing this kind of thing. And yeah, big thank you for the support you guys are giving us during the stream as well. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, been fun as always.
And thank you all for your donations. See you on Tuesday. Matt, it's all you.
All right. Yeah, thank you, everybody. We really appreciate you sticking around for this incredibly crazy and hectic Sunday and allowing us to put it all together for you. So we really appreciate all the support throughout the entire day. Now I think it's time for everyone to go and take a nap. So, yeah. With that, we will see you guys on Tuesday for our Starbase Expanded show at 6 p.m. Central, where we talk about all the things that we've learned since this show, as well as things like land swaps and new constructions, which we've seen a couple of new things this week. So, yeah, look forward to checking that out. So, we will see you then. Most engines cut off. Hot staging confirmed. Love you. Bye.